How many of you have sat in the DMV's office for hours on end waiting to renew your driver's license? I know I have, and it's really frustrating. How many of you have waited for hours for them to finally call your number, and when they do, you rush up to the counter, start filling out all of your information, and answering all their questions without giving them any thought? How many of you have answered yes or no to whether or not you want to be an organ donor without actually really thinking about it? I know that there are probably several of you watching this right now who are saying, yep, that was me. So let's talk about this. What does organ donation mean? Who can be an organ donor? And why should I say yes and actually mean it the next time I'm at the DMV's office? So who can be an organ donor? According to donatelife.gov, anyone can be an organ donor. It doesn't matter your age or your sex, and it really doesn't even matter if you're living or dead. And I'm sure you're thinking, what? I thought you had to be dead before you can be an organ donor. Actually, that's false. DonateLife.gov also goes on to explain that the increase in live organ donation has gone up dramatically over the past couple of years. And to me, I think that's pretty cool. What organs can you donate? Well, you can actually donate everything, from your eyes to your lungs, your heart, your kidneys. Most people don't know that you can even donate your skin, and I'm sure you're thinking, why in the world would I want to donate my skin? Well, let's think about it. Oftentimes, burn victims aren't left with much they can graft from themselves. That means that they have to have a live donor. So this means that they will have someone who has signed up and said yes at the DMV's office to be an organ donor who they can contact, and they will graft skin from to replace dead skin to those burn victims. Pretty cool, huh? How do they decide who gets what? Now, to me, this seems like a pretty big task to me. How would I decide if I have organs to get rid of, who's in need and who's not? I know that I wouldn't want that to be my job. So UNOS.org, which is the United Nations Network for Organ Sharing, explains that they actually have a computer system that figures all of this stuff out. They have what's called a donor list and a recipient list. Whenever someone is in need of an organ, they put them on the organ recipient list. And for those of you who say yes at the DMV's office, they put you on the organ donor list. So what this computer does is it analyzes data. And what type of data, you ask? Well, organs are matched by blood and tissue type. They are also by organ size, by medical necessity, waiting time, how long have these people been on the list, and geographic location. Unfortunately, there is a time frame that these donations have to be done in. So what's the cost, I'm sure you're asking? Well, as a matter of fact, there is no cost. For those of you who decide to donate, there is no cost to a donor's family. Can you donate after you die? Well, of course you can, but like I said, you don't have to wait until then. I'm sure some of you have heard stories about family members who have been in need for a kidney or a liver, and if that ever happens to you, you actually can step up and say, hey, I want to donate. What are the steps to doing this? Go to your doctor's office. Tell them you're interested in donating to a family member or a loved one. They'll know the proper steps and procedures that need to happen in order for you to see if you're a match for that person. Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, I don't know, I'm just not sure. And I've heard this a lot, and from working in the funeral home and now as a nurse, we often talk about the reasons why people say no to organ donation. One of the biggest ones is out of fear. They're thinking, I don't want to go through that, I don't want to put my body through it, or even family members will say no after a loved one dies because they don't think they can have a funeral for him. And let me be the first to tell you that you can actually have a funeral, open casket and everything, after organ donation. I'd love to go into detail about that, but that's for another speech. So let's talk about why we should be an organ donor. DonateLife.gov goes on to explain that there are over 123,000 people right now that are waiting for an organ. Did you know that one organ donation can save up to 8 lives? 8 lives. I myself was impressed whenever I heard that. Also, did you know that in 2010, 2.5 million people died? So let's do the math on this. If 2.5 million people died in 1 year, and one organ donation can save up to 8 people, what if every one of those people signed up to be an organ donor? Would there even be an organ donor waiting list? I have a hard time thinking that there would be. So far in 2015, there have been over 3,500 donations already. That's pretty impressive. So let's think, if just our class alone goes and says yes the next time they go to the DMV's office, we could make a really huge difference in somebody's lives and drastically change these numbers that unos.gov is telling us, or Donate Life, or organdonor.gov. They're all asking for more donations, more donations. So all I ask is that you simply think about this decision. Is this something that you want to do? Do your research. Check out these websites that I've talked about and see how easy it is to really become an organ donor. Clearly, the decision to become an organ donor isn't something that can be taken lightly. This is something that you really should think about. But once you do make that decision, I urge you to say yes the next time at the DMV's office and mean it. Talk to your family members so that way your family members are aware and they know your wishes when the time comes. And if each one of us take the time to make this decision and think about these things, we can help drastically save not only lives of our loved ones, but lives of hundreds of thousands of other people as well.